This is another episode in the construction of our crazy project called Volgatti. Yes, we decided to combine an old Volga 21 and a brand new Bugatti Chiron. In the end, this bizarre beast should look like this. A lot of work was done in previous episodes, and this one is no exception. Enjoy watching. So, in the previous episode, we molded the Bugatti body from fiberglass and placed it on the donor, and it became clear that the Bugatti is significantly lower. Therefore, the next step is to cut away everything that prevents the fiberglass shell from sitting lower. But first, we remove everything that can be taken off until there's nothing left, a bare body. That's what the guys are working on. By the way, here's an interesting way to attach the bumper. 3 rivets, a metal plate, and the car ends up with perfect gaps, neither hit nor painted. But seriously, credit should be given to the previous owner, as the condition of the body is truly excellent. In the first episode, I mentioned that the car was purchased partially disassembled. It was an unfinished project, but the bodywork was almost completely done. And considering that it's a Ford and from 1992, the body can confidently be called perfect. Except for a few spots, but we'll patch those up. We also need to remove the front panel. Yes, it's more commonly called a dashboard. A strange name, to be honest, and I got curious about why that is. It turns out it's a similar story to the term Jeep, which is used to refer to any SUV. So, it turns out that, in Germany, in the mid-20th century, there was a well-known company specializing in the production of automotive instruments, and this company was called Torpedo. Its instruments were often found in cars of various brands. That's why the word torpedo was initially used to refer to the instruments on the panel, and later to the entire front panel. You're welcome. In the end, we removed this dashboard panel, and there was just a little left to do, to throw out the heater, all the connections, and the wiring. Since we will be doing a lot of cutting, sawing, and welding in this area later on, this plastic will really get in the way and might accidentally start to smoke. Before cutting off the roof, we just need to remove the windows. It's simple here, a good wire and 2 bass guitarists. As for the rest of the interior, it was disassembled before we got to it. We bought the car in this condition. The previous owner repaired the body, painted it, but didn't get any further. In general, it's a common story when restoration drags on for a couple of years. In the end, it's not even about skill and experience. Most often the desire just disappears. And approaching a project abandoned for a year is very difficult mentally. I think those who have encountered such a story will understand me. In the end, such options end up on classified boards with the text "Everything is ready, just needs to be assembled." Well, we bought it to take it apart even more. In the previous episode, Valera slightly missed with the hammer, and that was the final bid, after which he had to buy this lot. An excellent glass from a Ford probe in a disassembled state, so he no longer denies himself anything and threads the wire in this convenient way. After hours of work, we have a body cleared of all unnecessary.
The next step is to cut the roof, because the dummy that is in Bernard's, it would seem that we cannot remove it, and since it has a completely different angle of inclination of the roof of the rear window, therefore, in order to, when we cut the roof, the body doesn't collapse. We make an improvised braced body.
Yes, such braces are a very important thing. The car really bends if, of course, it's not a frame construction or a convertible. There, everything is arranged differently and the body is initially well calculated. But we don't have a convertible, so we reinforce it with braces. Well, we've dismantled the body, now we proceed to the actual cutting. The next step is to draw a guideline and the show begins. You might not believe it, but they really work like this even when the camera is off. The guys are clearly doing what they love, and by the way, they constantly tease new episodes on their Instagrams. And then everything that cuts, saws, or somehow affects metal comes into play. As you remember, the Bugatti body is shorter than the Ford's, and in order to fit the fiberglass shell, we shorten it a bit. It's not exactly Dr. Dew's grinder for hard-to-reach places, but it'll do. Exactly what I was talking. The condition of the Arok is certainly pleasing. It's a pity to cut something so peaceful. We fully understand that. Our dinosaur is in excellent condition, but alas, what won't be done for the sake of art. So everything unnecessary is cut off and we can throw on the Bugatti half. We throw it on and realize that nothing fits.
In panic, we come up with crazy ideas. This needs to be placed as it is. And inserted, we are now remodeling exactly this panel.
And here we almost cover everything with foam and foam it freely from care.
We'll place it here. Subtitles by Dimatorza could be, everything okay? Okay. We determined that we cut along this corner, so we cut it off and lower it down. We can stretch this on the 3D model. We can do everything. Can we stretch it down completely and entirely? It's absolutely possible below. That's why, because of these fractions.
What the hell are you exactly talking about?
As I said, we don't do masterclasses, we just share our story, with all the blunders, mistakes, and reworks. Of course, such a project should be done based on an accurate 3D model, but this is our first experience. We are already involved in this project, so we will finish it by all possible means. It became clear that all we need to do is lower the car and everything will fall into place.
How interesting. How will you sit inside if you're going to lower the porch?
So the Bugatti, in terms of height, the original Maltina is 1212. That's 120 centimeters. 120 centimeters, it turns out, from the ground to the highest point of the roof. So the Bugatti ends right here. I don't know how they drive them, but a fact is a fact. A heart attack from the internet. It won't be on the internet. They have such a fact. There you go. Ours is approximately more than 20 centimeters higher.
In terms of total area, well, it turned out to be higher in terms of resistance. Alright, to make it as streamlined as possible, the simplest way is to start with the suspension, right? Like this. We have it 20 centimeters higher than the Bugatti. But this car, a test, at the moment it is above 25 from the earth. Centimeters. We significantly lightened it by a couple of 100 kilograms, and it just soared into the sky. And now this clearance has become huge. So we will now try to lower the car. It's a pity that the arches were modified.
Arches were done once. Now again, due to the third.
We have reworking arches.
No, the arches are unemployed. We should have set a record for what we are modifying. The car will become 20 meters lower.
Lowering the car using the suspension is not a difficult task, but before installing a new suspension, we need to make sure it will solve our problem and whether we can align the bodywork if we lower the body to the maximum. For this, we place the car on blocks, trying not to drop it to the ground. For the next hour, we tried different combinations of blocks, simultaneously measuring the ground clearance with a super precise nano measurer, the foot of a former stander. After the specialist in this field gave the go-ahead, we put the body on.
They still have to make the original threshold there again. Well, another 15 armor there. Mo. Don't throw. What is he planning? It just looks fine.
In general, a couple of hours ago, everyone had their own version of how to solve this problem, and it was unclear whom to listen to. Now everything has become clear, and the issue is easily resolved by lowering the car. For this, we decided to cut the springs and later order coilovers and do everything properly. By the way, if you have any trusted manufacturers or sellers of coilovers, please share the name in the comments. It's better not to post a link, as YouTube often bans such messages. In the end, that's what we did. We removed the springs to position the wheel correctly. We put back the remnants of the shock absorbers, and it became clear that the arches no longer fit this clearance. It's a mistake. We could have thought about this in advance. It's okay, we'll redo it.
Indeed. The square arch is no longer relevant here, as we need to raise it much higher, upwards. Now, our wheels simply don't fit into the arch. So we will redo it just once again. We realized this quite late. By pure chance, nighttime. Or from the latest Tesla model. With a diesel engine? Yes. The one that's already out? Yes, the lightweight diesel one. Exactly. As of today, we lowered the car using makeshift means without having coilovers. How was assistance achieved here? Well, using makeshift means don't say that this, that, well, damn well. Here it is. And I think they fit perfectly here. And you can see in the picture that this card is under the lower lip of the arch. And basically that's how it turns out for us. Just like show it on the phone exactly the same way. Yes. Well, yes. Just like in the picture. Basically, that's how it turns out for us. Not very ribbed. We will always have PR in the picture. Top work didn't stand still. We are taking on the reworking of the arch, and in my opinion, everything is shaping up very cool. I like how everything is turning out perfectly. Well, let's head to Aretsapkin.
Of course, the joke about the Tesla arches was just a joke. In the end, we took the arches from a Niva. They fit perfectly, as you can see on the screen. First, we cut out the previous version, which was criticized in the comments. And here, it's worth agreeing that you were right. And considering all the new inputs, the picture is really coming together as close to the concept as possible.
And when was our arch cut? We realized that not everything fits as perfectly as we wanted. We'll have to improvise, tailor, and refine from various pieces.
after a few strokes of work, we already have some form and picture emerging. For example, in the Volga, there is such a beautiful semicircular edge, and now we will try to depict it using available methods. How is help achieved here? Well, naturally everyone said using available means. No need to say that we are fixing an arch on airplanes. Here. Here we have a joint, so I made incisions right here. And now the Volga's head will bend to keep the arch in this plane. And again, I repeat, we will make a semi-cup. For this, we need to outline a line. And now we need to, as I mentioned, hammer it out here. Bend this and adjust that.
And then it's a matter of technique. We unscrew the temporary screws and tack the permanent arch onto the temporary wing, as all these metal body elements will soon be covered with kilograms of putty. We will perfect them and take a mold, and later roll out all the elements from fiberglass. In the end, we will get high-quality lightweight panels that will be perfectly tailored to our needs. But that's all in theory. In practice, we'll still have to redo everything. A couple of times. But more on that in the next episodes. At the moment, we already have the main bodywork finally adjusted, and right now it will become clear what has come out and how far or close we are to the concept in the picture. To objectively assess the result, the car must definitely and thoroughly be taken outside, as the picture is perceived quite differently outdoors, in the garage. So at first glance it looks a bit strange. The thing is, right now it's missing the decorative elements that give the car its entire look. For example, see how the picture changes after we add the minimal set. The front bumper, the side skirt and the wheel were put in their place. It was at this moment that I exhaled because I am 100% satisfied with the proportion. That's the most important thing. All the other work is about refining the body and the details. Yes, it's all not easy, but it's just a matter of time. But getting the right overall contour was the main task. I remind you that such projects are only possible thanks to your support. And the best way to help spread the video is to share it anywhere. A like, a long comment and a subscription are also very important. Thank you for watching, and may your axe be sharp.